Okay, so I already recorded the video, and I just want to tell you right now, I'm very tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. My microphone wasn't even plugged in. Every all of the sound you're about to hear is coming out of my webcam. So, my bad. Hopefully it's still bearable. Either way, I'm posting it as is because I don't want to record it again. But I solemnly swear that next time I do this, I'll make sure my microphone is plugged in. I hope you enjoy.
Alright guys, today we're talking about Scream 6. Now, I wasn't actually planning on ever doing movie reviews on this channel, but I'm not really doing fuck all else with it, so here I am. I've decided to do reviews on movies that bother me, which tend to be a lot of movies. My friends are getting tired of me walking out of the theater and complaining about the movies we saw, like, "Oh, you're too critical of the movie. I don't want to hear that." It's like, "Oh, wow, okay. I didn't think you were a normie." This is directed towards a specific person, Ty Stone. His channel's in the description below. He makes movie reviews, ironically. I'm critical of movies because you should be critical of movies, okay? Some Hollywood schmuck is paid a ton of money. This is his job, all right? Well, you're slaving away at the grocery outlet, all right? This guy is sitting on his ass writing these screenplays and making more money than you'll probably see in your lifetime. So it should be good, especially since you're forking your money over too. That's why I'm critical of movies. Well, not really. I made that up just now. I'm really just critical of movies because I have nothing better to do. But that is a very good reason why you should be critical of movies. Just a side note, ignore the Minecraft hat, but like, I totally wore a slasher shirt. And you can't even see it because the way my fucking... This camera, dude, took me forever to set up. It's like stacked on a bunch of random shit right now. I want to do a spoiler warning right now because this is going to spoil Scream 6. And although the title of this video is something along the lines of Scream 6 is a major disappointment, I would actually recommend watching it, especially since it'll be easier to follow along. And also, there's probably going to be spoilers for Scream 5 as the two movies are directly connected. So, you know, watch those if you haven't already. But I assume you have, that's why you're here. Unless you're... No, you've seen the movie. Also, I'm probably editing this on Windows Movie Maker, so give me a like. I've earned it. So I'm not a huge fan of any Scream movie in particular. I am, however, a huge fan of the series as a whole, because I love slasher movies, and Scream is slasher love incarnate. It's a satire of horror movies while also being horror movies themselves. It's genius. Nothing short of genius. And that is not the only reason why I think Scream 6 is a major disappointment. One of the big reasons is Scream 5 was actually my favorite Scream movie. And I know it's not a perfect movie, it has its flaws. The killer reveal was pretty stupid. We'll touch on that later. The Billy Loomis cameos with like the hallucinations, they're freaking goofy, I'm not gonna lie. And a pet peeve of mine is that the killers never seem to mention that they followed their own set of horror movie rules. Like they're always going on about how the survivors or the final girl have to follow all these rules to survive. But like, have you noticed that every time Ghostface has somebody pinned, he has to lift his knife above his head to give him room to escape? Why isn't that touched on? Overall, though, I would say Scream 5 is a fantastic movie, and I would recommend you watch it. But now we get into Scream 6. So the movie opens with this girl who is at this bar or restaurant or something, and she is a slasher movie teacher. Meta, right? I know. She seemingly got stood up, but her online boyfriend calls her, lets her know, "Hey, I didn't stand you up. I'm just lost. I'm just lost." And they get to talking, they talk about stupid stuff. And then he's all like, "Yo, I'm in this alleyway. I'm in this alleyway. Come find me. Come find me in this." "Oh, you don't see me? That's weird. I don't see you either. Hey, why don't you come in this alleyway?" Well, we all know where this was going. She does. I think it's a bit stupid. I'm not gonna dog on it, alright? I mean, we gotta get there. I mean, we have to get that lady outside of the crowd so she can die. It was bound to happen. They could have done it better, sure. That's not why this movie has really grinded my gears. So she gets in the alleyway, the Ghostface voice comes on, obviously, and it's pretty cool. And then Ghostface comes out, stabs the woman, and then he takes off the mask. Genius. Pure genius. So he gets home and his roommate has called him and he's using the Ghostface voice. The dude that we're following is all like, bro, don't use the voice on me, bro. But he's all like, come on, you killed a girl. Why can't I use the voice? And so he starts leading him around the house on this little Ghostface-esque scavenger hunt. And what it ends with is his roommate in a freezer dead. Not alive, dead. And who did it? Ghostface. A different Ghostface. It's a Ghostface killing a Ghostface. Dude, that is awesome. The best opening to a Scream movie you could ask for. And right before he kills the dude, he says my favorite line in the whole movie.
Who gives a fuck about movies?
Me. I was gonna use a clip for that, but the movie's not on fucking digital. Side note, after this little Ghostface versus Ghostface scuffle, I actually had a fun little theory that the main Ghostface was gonna be Sydney, and the whole movie was just gonna be her defending off other Ghostface going after Tara and Sam. I was disappointed. In the movie's defense, that would be an insane thing to expect, so I don't hold that against them. That was my fault. In the next scene, we're with our therapist, Sam. Fucking hell. In the next scene, we're with our protagonist, Sam, and she's in therapy, admitting to the therapist that she liked killing her ex-boyfriend. I mean, who doesn't? Huh? You laughed. I think. This is when we learn the therapist's degree is fucking useless because he does nothing but go, whoa, that's way too much for me to handle. Oh my god. Gee, lady, why are you coming to me with your problems? Side note, at this point, I actually thought that Sam was Ghostface. Once again, I was let down. But that time, it could have been true. Shame on you, Scream 6. Shame. It's important to note that in the movie, it's commonly brought up that there's these nut job theories going around that Sam actually set up her boyfriend in the last movie, and that she was the killer all along. I think that's important to mention. Looking back, though, I'm not entirely sure it was important to the film at all. I mean, I guess kinda. As she leaves the therapist, she's talking on the phone to her sister, and I didn't really catch what she was saying because the song October Passed Me by Girl in Red was playing, and that song fucks. That song fucking rocks. We meet her sex-positive roommate, Quinn, and she's banging some guy or something. She tells Sam that her sister Tara is at a party that she wasn't supposed to be at because, you know, Ghostface or whatever. Not that they know about the Ghostface that is currently running around, but like trauma, I think. I'm pretty sure. It's what I've come to observe. Then we go to the party and we meet the main cast. Ethan, who is a new guy. Mindy, from the previous movie. The love interest girl. I don't remember her name, but she doesn't last very long, so don't bother. And Chad, from the last movie. And Tara, of course. Anyway, Tara meets up with this douchebag, and he's all like, hey baby, come upstairs with me, baby. I got booze, baby. And although I don't personally recommend you go upstairs with some random dude, she's kind of like, fuck it, seemingly despite her sister, and I get it. So they start heading up the room, and Mindy's girlfriend just insults this guy. And, like, I'm not saying this guy is a good guy or anything, but, like, they don't know that. She just started insulting him from the get-go. I mean, he's clearly written to be this bad guy. But so far he hasn't actually done anything that's, like, wrong. Then Chad also starts being rude to this guy, and he's all like, yo, Tara stays downstairs. No wonder she's trying to get with this guy, right? Like, come on, if everybody tells you not to get with... You can't get with this guy. It's past your bedtime. I'd be sleeping with that guy. That's when he starts to physically drag Tara upstairs, and... Okay, I'm not gonna defend this guy now. Chad kicks his ass. I think Sam tases him in the balls. I genuinely kind of feel bad for this guy. He was just trying to get lucky, and he was just berated and then laid out. It's not his night. While they're leaving the party, Sam and Tara get into this, like, argument. And Tara says, let me go. That's important for later. Some dumb bitch splashes Sam with water because of the previously mentioned nutjob theories going around. I think that's important to mention. Tara and Chad have some romantic tension. Then Sam has like this hidden boyfriend like across the street. I don't know why he's hidden. I'm not going to nitpick it though. I'm going to save you some time here. Then there's the news segment. There's murders. So this cop, Quinn's dad, calls Sam down to the station to talk about the murders. So Sam and Tara leave the house, and Sam gets a phone call from none other than our man Ghostface. Now this call disappointed me because it debunked both of my previous theories. That's it. Holy shit, I just noticed that my fucking lighting is dog shit. Because my fucking laptop is so bright. Whoa, dude. The natural light is failing me now. Think it would help to turn a lamp on? Does it look good? I don't know if that fucking changed anything. I think we're gonna leave it on. Anyway, Ghostface says, "Better watch your backs." And then he shows up immediately. And I think that's pretty funny. They run into a convenience store, and that whole scene is fucking awesome. Okay, that scene rules. Ghostface gets a shotgun. It's in the trailer. Overall, cool scene. It ends. We move on. Then there's an interrogation scene that only serves as a scene to introduce a character and provide an alibi for certain characters. Kind of obvious. Then we're introduced, or reintroduced, to Kirby. She's supposed to be an older character, but I didn't recognize her. Ty was in the theater with me, and I'm like, who is she? And he leans over, and he says, Scream 4. To which I replied, oh. We learn that Ghostface is dropping masks of the previous killers, and that's cool. Not really important, but it's cool. We are then reunited with the iconic Gale Weathers. Sam tries to punch her, but she dodges, as a little neat callback to the original film, and she starts saying yeah, I've been around the block, honey. But then Tara comes and just fucking socks her. Also a genius scene. I love that scene. They talk, they catch up, something about a book. But then they hint that Gale might be the killer. It's a lot less cool than that. Sam's therapist is murdered and her file is taken. And Mindy's back on a pedestal explaining to the group all the different horror movie tropes and franchises. And look, it was a cool scene in Scream 5 because it came out at a time where a lot of movies were getting sequels to originals, namely Halloween. Texas Chainsaw Massacre had one. Because requels, as they would call them, which is kind of just a term for a soft reboot, were actually being pumped out at the time Scream 5 came out. But in this movie, it kind of just seemed like Mindy was making stuff up. I'm not entirely convinced that anything she said was actually a horror trope at all. She also says that main characters and legacy characters are not safe. And I'm gonna circle back to that. Anyway, the group goes around saying everybody's a suspect. I have no issues or praises here. It's the logical next step in a whodunit. Some more movie happens. It's really unremarkable. That's when Sam's boyfriend spots Ghostface in the apartment. Then Boy Toy calls Sam to let her know that there's a fucking killer in the house. But she's all like, I'll answer it later. Which I think is lazy writing, but we're gonna move on. Then he sends over a picture of Ghostface in Quinn's room right as Quinn starts screaming, and then boom! Quinn's bloody body flies out of the room and Ghostface runs out like, I'm gonna kill you guys! He traps them in a room, and the neighborhood hunk has this grand idea to put a ladder through the alleyway to connect the apartments. I said that like it was sarcastic. I genuinely think it was a grand idea. Mindy and Sam make it across the ladder alright, but the love interest, the expendable one, the woman that shall not be named in this movie review, she doesn't make it. She gets halfway across the ladder and Ghostface just kind of... She plummets to her death, and honestly, props to this scene. It's a great scene. I like this movie so far, but we'll get there. After the murders, Ethan shows up out of nowhere, and everybody's like, you're the killer. You're the killer. Where were you? From this point on, they repeatedly call him Ghostface, but they let him hang around because they want to keep an eye on him, but that makes no sense. He doesn't need to hide his identity if he has the opportunity to kill you. So it's illogical? Anyway, Gale finds this Ghostface shrine that's also a movie theater, and she leads all the other survivors to it. There's more Billy Loomis cameos, and I get that, it's fan service, but I'm not a fan of it. The hallucinations just don't make sense. And I think it would make sense if it was kind of like this metaphorical thing. Like Sam's not actually hallucinating Billy Loomis, but it's kind of symbolic of her dark thoughts that she inherited from her dad. But then later she fucking talks to it like a lunatic, so it's real. She's hallucinating it. Makes no sense. Also, the whole theater is filled with Ghostface memorabilia. And I'm all for fan service, but this is a bit overkill. I'm keeping that in there. Fuck you. Then there's a scene where Mindy and Kirby sit down, and Kirby's like, "Oh, I heard you're a fan of horror movies. Best Nightmare on Elm Street?" And they both go, "The original." "Best Friday the 13th?" And they have, like, conflicting answers. "The original Candyman or the new one?" And they both say, "Both." I don't know why, but this scene really bugs me. It feels like the writer just inserted their own opinions in this sort of condescending manner. And by the way, the best Friday the 13th was part 6. After leaving the shrine, they try to bait Ghostface by tapping Sam's phone to trace his call. I don't know why they expect him to call, as it's broad daylight, but he does. Turns out he's at Gail's house. Sam and Tara steal a police car in broad daylight. I don't need to tell you how stupid this scene is, do I? This is a stupid scene. The guy's like, "You can't steal a cop car." This scene fucking sucks, dude. Now we're at Gail's house, and I don't have much to say about this scene except it fucking rules, dude. It's everything you'd hope for out of a fight between Gail and Ghostface. It basically ends with Gail on the ground dying and Ghostface is nowhere to be seen. And then Sam and Tara show up. It's like fucking night outside. They stole a cop car. The sirens were on. What, did they stop for directions? Why were they so late? Why does it matter that they got there at all? Anyway, the gang gets together and they decide to trap the killer like a Scooby-Doo episode. They set up a little trap in the shrine so that the Ghostface couldn't get in there. To get to the shrine, they have to go on a train first, and this is when Mindy and Ethan get separated from the rest of the group. So now there's 2 groups, and both of the parties are confronted with a subway car full of ghost faces. The movie takes place in Halloween. I guess that's important to mention. Now this scene would have been really good if it didn't fucking drag so long. If you plan on watching this movie, get ready to bring a bottle of shaving cream for this fucking scene, because you're gonna grow a whole ass beard. Is that a good joke? I'm so fucking tired right now. It's a long scene. And boy does it not pay off. The climax of the scene is the real Ghostface kind of just stabbing Mindy. He kind of just goes... Mindy falls to the ground because she's been stabbed, and Ethan sees her slumped over, and he's like, "Oh my god! Mindy! Mindy, no! Somebody help! Somebody help!" And that's when he takes her out of the subway car and escorts her to the hospital. I'll get back to this later. The other group makes it back to the shrine, and Sam has another schizo moment before taking her Daddy-O's knife. Tara and Chad make out before getting ambushed by 2 killers, and Chad gets stabbed repeatedly. And here we are, almost nearing the big reveal. Cop Dad shoots Kirby. And it's revealed that there are 3 killers! I actually kind of like the fact that there were 3 killers, because it always bugged me that Scream 3 only had 1 killer, and this kind of like evens it out for me. However, that is the only credit I'm gonna give to this killer reveal. Cop guy. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole scene that just tries to give him an alibi. I want to take a break real quick. This isn't in my script, but I think it's important to mention what I don't actually like about the Scream 5. They were like, "Oh, it's the boyfriend," and it was the boyfriend. The other killer, I don't even remember her name. She was kind of my first suspect to begin with, so yeah, it really didn't blow my mind. And the killer's motivation was, "Oh, we're making a movie." So it was a really boring motive and a really boring twist. And even though Scream 5 is my favorite Scream movie, that really bummed me out. Now imagine how bummed I was when they did that again. The whole time they're saying, "Ethan's the killer! Ethan's the killer!" Guess who the killer was? It was Ethan! Once again, they make the obvious killer obvious, and they comment on how obviously he's the killer, and then he's the killer. Isn't that a twist? And sure, maybe it was in the first Scream movie, but, you've done this 3 times now. It's not clever, it's just lame, it's just boring. Then the third Ghostface goes to tear off her mask, and yes, it's a her. And Sam is all like, "Mindy? Who is this for?" There's no way Sam actually would suspect Mindy. It could have been somebody they didn't even know. Or it could have been her boyfriend? Shouldn't that have been the first person she suspected before the mask came off? So if it's not for Sam, then is she saying that for the audience? Oh, it's Mindy? We just saw her get stabbed, dude. Why did she say that? Why did they write that? But no, it's not Mindy. It is Quinn. Yeah, she didn't die. They faked her death. I did not see that coming. No, she wasn't on my top list of suspects. I honestly thought her dad fucking murdered her because he's like a psycho or something. I didn't know why they were killing people. But like, it was not ever out of the realm of possibility that her death was faked. Still not that big of a twist. Still didn't blow my mind. And that's what I wanted out of this movie. But let's get back to Ethan. I have a big problem with Ethan being the killer, other than the fact that it was totally expected. When Mindy got stabbed, why the fuck did he help her? Who on the subway car was he trying to convince that he was still innocent? They got separated. It was just them. So why did he scream for help instead of leaving her to die? Why did he escort her to the hospital? And he does. It comes up later in the movie. The cop's like, we gotta make sure Mindy dies in the hospital. Why did Ethan save her? You wanna know why? It's so the audience doesn't expect that he's the killer. So, what is the motivation of these boring-ass killers, you might ask? Well, you know that boring-ass killer from the previous movie? Yeah, they're all related. Dude. How underwhelming, dude. I wanted something riveting, okay? Why would they write that as the motivation? Why did they decide that these killers were interesting? Their motivation is literally, you killed the bad guy in the last movie. You bitch. What a shoehorned cop-out, dude. They also had the same exact in-game plan as the previous killer, which was like to set it all up. And again, that is something they borrowed from the original Scream movie. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't know who the killer was when they were originally writing the script, so they had to go back and just change a bunch of things. Who should the killer be? Ethan? Let's go back and write a scene where he wasn't there. Quinn? Oh, well, we killed Quinn off. Oh, but maybe her death was fake. Anyway, the three of them got Sam and Tara just pinned. They could kill them. But then Sam starts talking all this macho bullshit like, oh, I killed your son. I killed your son. He was a fucking little bitch. He was a little pussy. He died like a little girl. And for some reason, the cop, the guy that probably interrogates people, the cold-blooded killer, as it's revealed, it gets to him. He's like, no, don't say that. I ought to kill you. And the whole time, I was trying to figure out what Sam's plan was, because even if it did work, which it shouldn't have worked, what was her plan here? But it was actually just to buy time while Kirby, who was shot, gets backed up and saves the day. Just the right time, too. Of course she didn't intervene when the killers were giving their monologue. So fast forward, there's like a little chase scene, and eventually Sam and Tara are put in this position where Tara is dangling over a balcony and Sam is holding on to her. Below Tara, is Ethan, and he's like, whoosh, 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 I'm gonna kill you. And then Quinn comes around, and she's gonna run at Sam. Basically, what has to happen is Sam has to let Tara go. And I would have honestly given props to this scene as kind of like the symbolic character development. They didn't beat you over the fucking head with it. Because Tara, who is dangling above a killer while another killer is coming after her sister, takes the time to repeat her line, Sam, let me go. Remember what I said before, earlier in the movie? Let me go. Because the audience is not smart enough to make that connection. You have to hold their hand. So Sam gives the knife to Tara, drops her, and she kills Ethan, and then Sam kills Quinn. Meanwhile, the cop guy is kind of watching her die. And keep in mind that he has a gun in his hand. He has a gun. And Sam charges at him. And you know what he does? He charges right back at her and gives her a big ol' hug. Honestly, what were they thinking? They had the actors do this. Nobody said, hey, if I was this guy, like, actually, I'd shoot her. Anyway, they fall off the balcony and we're brought to the final good scene of this movie. And that's when Sam is disappeared. The cop guy gets up, and his phone rings, and it's Sam, but it's not Sam. It's Ghostface. She's hiding somewhere, and the cop goes looking for her, and then she's all like, gotcha. And call me a hybristophiliac, but this scene is sexy as hell. However, the momentum of this scene is killed when she's all like, I'm not gonna kill you, because I am not my father. But then she just kills him. Don't get me wrong. I wanted her to kill the guy. I mean, she already stabbed him repeatedly. What I didn't want was for her to go on this moral high ground speech in the middle of it. It's just false character development. And you can argue that the character development wasn't the actual act of killing, but the reason for killing. Because she says, but you'd messed with my family. Oh, she didn't really kill him because she liked it. She killed him because she was messing with Tara or something. She hasn't been going around the entire movie killing because it's fun. She's only ever killed when it was necessary. Up until this point. So yeah. Didn't like that scene. Well, didn't like that part. It was a cool scene overall. Then to really drive the point home, Tara and Sam sit down and have this conversation where she's all like, thanks for letting me go. Like a cherry on top to this flaming heap of dog shit. Then Ethan shows up again. He is not actually dead. It's like a Scream thing. And so he dies the same way one of the original killer dies. And I don't know. It really wasn't doing it for me. I think it's because I was already disappointed at this point. But this movie is not done disappointing me. Mindy shows up and she's all like, oh, I'm fine. Because the killer safely escorted her to the hospital. Then the medics wheel Chad out, and he's fine, even though he was stabbed repeatedly. Left there for a long time. Surely enough time to bleed out if he didn't already die by the multiple stab wounds. So now I want to go back to the previous point made. No main character is safe, and no legacy character is safe. Because none of them died. Mindy should have died, didn't. Chad should have died, didn't. Kirby should have died, didn't. Gale was literally lying on the ground dead, and they were like playing it off as this big emotional moment. Nurse girl, she was all like, oh, she has a weak pulse. And then later the cop guy is all like, we gotta make sure Gale doesn't survive in the hospital. Everybody that died was exclusive to this movie. So what was the point of making it a point that nobody is safe? Sam drops her Daddy-O's mask. And Demi Lovato plays us out with a total fucking banger. It's called Still Alive. Check it out. I'm gonna go on a seemingly random tangent. When I first watched season 1 of The Mandalorian, I thought I hated it. And then my friend, Kyle Landrum, link to his birthday song in the description below, asked me why I hated it. So I rewatched the series, and I took notes on every single episode to give him my argument. But it turns out I didn't hate the show at all. I hated 2 episodes so much that I thought I hated the show. Those 2 episodes put such a sour taste in my mouth that it kind of ruined the first season for me. But knowing that, I kind of enjoyed the rest of the show a lot more. On rewatch, I feel similar about this movie. I did not hate the movie. Aside from like a few nitpicks here and there, I really just hated the ending of the movie. To be fair, though, the ending was built up throughout the entire movie, so take that how you will. The movie started off incredible. It just kind of seemed like the writer and or director got lazy halfway through the third act together. And after all this said, I think I'm still going to put Scream 6 into my collection because of everything it has done right. Because it had the potential to be the best Scream movie in the franchise. But that's why I would consider this movie a major disappointment. Well, to the person that made it to the end of this video, probably nobody, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I'm gonna do this every time a movie bothers me, because all my friends are fake. So maybe you'll hear me out when I hate your favorite movies. If you like this movie, subscribe to my newsletter. I'm leaving. I'm just leaving. Deuces. Bye.